Hey guys, welcome to the Noobs Guide for TribalWars episode 2. Now, this episode is all about troops, so as you can see I've got a unit overview here. On this table there's two classes of troops that's missing, and I'll go over them at the end. But this is what you'd normally get from normal world. So, to start off with, when you first start, you get your quest and then you get a couple of spear fighters and swordsmen and a bit of axemen. Now, depending if you want to go defense or offense, it varies what kind of troops you want. But let's start off with the spear fighter. The spear fighter is a cheap troop. You can build loads of them, and they're able to haul back a lot of resources when you're farming. So they're quite a useful tool to use. And the great thing about spear fighters is that they have good cavalry defense. And so when you're planning a defensive village, it's always great to have a couple of thousand spear fighters, because they will really help you out. And because they only take up one population cost, they're really useful. Actually, before I go, let me just show you what this table's about, because I forgot to say that. This thing here with the wood symbol, the clay symbol, and the iron symbol is how much they cost to build. And obviously, as you can see, a nobleman is the most expensive. This is how much population they take up in your village. So say your farm's at 100, then you could build 100 spear fighters. But of course you can't do that because buildings take up a certain amount of population as well. This one here is general offense, or no, not general offensive strength. Oh, sorry, I just mean offensive strength. So it shows how strong they are in battle. Excuse me. The next one along, this one here, is general defense. So when you're defending against an attack, you're not very good against. It means foot soldiers like axemen, swordsmen, and I think it covers rams and catapults as well, but I'm not totally sure on that. Yes, so don't judge me. Now the cavalry one is for mounted units like light cavalry, heavy cavalry. Now spear fighters and all the other units cannot kill scouts. Only scouts can kill scouts, or a wall can kill scouts. So the more scouts you've got, the better, so that they can't see your village. This one here with the foot symbol, which I've just highlighted, is how fast they move. Now, depending on what speed world you're on, I think this one's it's like 2 or 1.5. I haven't checked. But this can travel at it can travel one on your map. There's 7x7. That's how far it can cross one square. Okay. Now, obviously, if a village is diagonal towards you, it doesn't work it out so that it goes, down and then across. It works out how it goes out diagonally. So that's why, when you're going diagonal, things vary and whatever, because it's, it works out distance. And this one here is when you attack a village, this is how much resources a unit can bring back. So this one can bring back 25 resources. So it's usually not, I don't think they judge it evenly. They just kind of, I think it's sort of a random generator how much iron they bring back, or how much clay they bring back, or how much wood. It's always near even, but depending on what resources Barbarian Villager has. I've just been Skyped, so I'll just ignore that for now. Let me continue with this. Right. So I've talked about the spear fighter. They're great cavalry units. You need them if you're planning a defensive village. Now, swordsmen. These ones are great at killing axemen. A nuke is made up of 6,000 axe and 3,000 light cavalry, and then ram and catapults and noblemen. Now, because Sorry about that. Now, because a nuke is made up of more axemen than cavalry, you always want slightly more swordsmen, because that will mean that you will kill more axemen because the spearfighters ain't so good at defending against them. Right, so as you can see, they've got 50, which is pretty good. And now, if we move on to axemen, axemen are your offensive power. They form up the... If you're going for offensive village, that's the main one that you need to bulk up in. As, you know, they're quite cheap, and you can produce loads of them, and they will do some damage when they get in there. You know, they'll kill a couple of thousand. And obviously they're quite quick to move. You know, they're not... You're not slow. Right, so moving on to the next unit, the scout. These units are essential for any villager build, whether it's defense or offense. Scouts are used so that enemies cannot see what units you've got, or so that you can see what units they've got. Now, the more you have, the more stuff you're going to see. So say I had 50 scouts, and the guy sent 150, he'd be able to see everything. But say I had 200 scouts, and he sent 5, then I would kill all his scouts, and then he wouldn't have saw anything. In the report, it would just say that all his units died. All the scouts died. Now, of course, there's ways of faking people to think that you're actually launching an attack. By sending a single spearfighter along with a group of scouts is usually effective. The spearfighter will be killed, but you'll gain more intel as they'll think you're attacking. Which is a little tactic, but I'll go into tactics in, you know, a further as this series gets more developed. Now, moving on to light cavalry. This is a lot cheaper than heavy cavalry, and it's a lot, yeah, it's slightly quicker at moving, and it can carry a lot of resources. So that's why light cavalry is great for farming. They also have a good offense, not a great defense, but, you know, it works. They have 130 offense, and they only take up 4 population. Whereas people who think that using heavy cavalry is good, no. Try not to use heavy cavalry unless you want to support someone. Because they're quite expensive, you know, heavy cavalry, and... Yeah, you get your stuff there quicker, but it takes up 6 population, and it's just like, Now, going on to the next unit, these are the siege ones. Now, rams are needed in every single nuke that you send. Well, unless they have no wall. But when you send your first nuke off to destroy an enemy village, always send, I think you need... If you send 200 and their walls at level 20, you'll knock it down to about level 5, I think. Don't get me on there, but there's a table suggesting that if you search on Google Images. Oh god, I feel like I'm about to be sick. But anyway, rams are good. Of course, they're not very good at defending. The only reason you should build them is that you can knock down an enemy wall. That's the only reason you should really build them. Although saying that, it says that it's got a good cavalry defense, but you know, I wouldn't trust it, because I'm guessing they're killed pretty quickly. Now, catapult. Moving on to the next unit, catapults. Now, these guys are useful. Now, if you're attacking a village, I would always send rams and catapults. Catapults to destroy the main buildings that they need. Because the more catapults you have, then you can pick what building they attack. You can only attack 1 building per attack, though. So, say I send 200 catapults, and I told them to destroy the iron mine, and the iron mine was at level 20. I'd probably reduce it to level 3. So their resources, they're not getting enough resources in to rebuild their troops. So you have to think about tactics, what buildings you want to destroy. You could always destroy the rally point, so that the guy can't dodge your attack. That's always useful. You can always destroy the farm, so that he can't rebuild his troops, because he has to wait for the farm to rebuild. You could even destroy his headquarters, so that, you know, half the buildings he's got, You know, he has to rebuild his headquarters before he can, you know, start doing stuff. But, you know, it all depends what you want to achieve. If you want to totally disable him, then I'd probably attack the rally point, headquarters, or farm. Maybe the resources, but no matter what you attack, you always do damage to the guy, because it will take him hours to rebuild. Unless he has multiple villages, and then he starts pumping resources into it. But if it's... Well, let's not go into that. Now, the next unit is the Paladin. Now, you can only have one Paladin per world. One Paladin. And some worlds let you let your Paladins have weapons, which increase your offensive strength, defensive strength of certain units. Well, of all the units, but on this world, you know, there are no weapons. Oh god, the screen's just gone. My screen just went black. That's what happens when you don't move around. Move that mouse. But the Paladin is pretty useful at the beginning of the world. It doesn't become as effective as the world progresses. But, you know, still build it. Now, moving on to noblemen. Now, noblemen are needed to capture a new village for yourself. Now, usually, they take between 15 to 30 loyalty off a village, and a village has 100 loyalty to begin with, unless it's attacked beforehand or blah 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 blah. So, you need to send at least 4 noblemen in separate attacks. Don't send all 4 noblemen in the same attack, because it will not reduce it instantly and you'll noble it. No, you have to send it in 4 separate attacks, which you can send in quick succession, or, you know, if it's a barbarian village, you know, you can take a lot. You can have second intervals or whatever. Now, moving on to one of the newest units that came into this game, the Militia. Now, as you can see, they don't cost anything to build. This is because they come from your farm. Now, Militia can't be moved from your village. You know, they're stationed there, and they defend your village against an oncoming attack. Now, depending on your farm level, depends how many Militia you get. For every one you get, for every level of your farm, you get, what is it, 15 Militia? Something like that. So obviously, but after you get past level 15 or something, 15, 20, I don't know. Let's take a quick look. You know. Whoa, zoom in. Oh dear. Right. Let's have a quick look at this. Right. So as you can see, this is the Militia. But, of course, with calling the Militia, as you can see here, the production of all resources will be reduced by 50%. So, if the attack isn't what was I going to say? How am I going to phrase this? I don't know. But, obviously, the more militia you have, the better, because they have the same defense as spearmen. Now let's get back to... God damn it. There we go. So militia are important. Now let's go on to the 2 units that aren't on this unit overview. That is the archer and the mounted archer. Now archers are pretty good at defending against pretty much everything. They haven't got good deep offense, but they're pretty decent at defending your village. Now, some people don't really use them. I try to, but you know, they're quite expensive to use. They're 100 wood per thing, and I think it's 30 clay, like 30 iron. Don't spam me with saying, "Oh, you're wrong," because I haven't checked. I don't really use them. I don't really want to use them because they're expensive. You know, they just don't. I just don't think they work as well. But you know, you might be going, oh, how can you say that? Now, but now the mounted archer is a lot better. You might want to put a couple of them in your in a nuke, because they are pretty much effective at taking out archers and swordsmen. you know, they will take them out. They will go, I'm gonna fuck you up, you know, and destroy them. Now, hopefully this tutorial has been useful. Oh wait, there's one more thing I've got to cover. Someone asked me about attacking a stacked village. Now, a stacked village is where someone has literally put all of their, well, they've put, you know, neighbours and friends and tribe members have poured loads of troops into a village, so about 10,000, you know, something like that. And someone asked me, how do you go about attacking one? Well, the best thing I suggest is use fake attacks on neighbouring villages who you know they're friends with, or who you think has given them troops, because then they will withdraw their troops, hopefully. But make it look like a nobleman attacked by sending a ram or catapult, because their speeds are quite identical to a nobleman. But of course, people can check using TW map about timings. So you know, if they don't know about that tool, you know, you're in good money, because then they won't recognise the difference between a catapult and a nobleman. Now, the thing about attacking a stacked village is that as soon as you send your nuke, it'll be wiped out because of the sheer amount of troops. It just won't penetrate it. You have to send out, I don't know, about 5 nukes to do any capable damage, and I just don't think that's worth it. So, best thing to do, send fake attacks against tribe members. You know, get your own tribe to help. Start, you know, launch attacks against their neighbours so that the stacked village troops slowly withdraw. Just bide your time. Slowly use fake attacks, you know, and then when you think that you've reduced the number enough by, you know, make sure you send scouts with it so that you can check that the numbers are going down and whatever. And once you think the numbers have been successful, always check with the simulator. And once you know you can win the battle, of course, there's a couple of varying factors like moral and loyal and luck. But if luck's on your side and morals on your side, then you should win, and it should be effective. Now, this ends this tutorial. Please leave a like, and please sub to my channel for more Noobs Guide to TribalWars. You know, I've already had 24 views on the first episode, and I'd like this one to get even more. The more views I get, you know, the more it helps me out, the more YouTube recognises me, and it just helps me get along. You know, if I see a comment, I'll reply. You know, I'm not a bastard. I won't. If you put a dislike on it, I'll ask you why. You know, don't feel like you're compelled to subscribe to me. I'm just asking to do this as a favour, because it makes me want to do more. Because, you know, eventually I'll start to grow bored, or, you know, I might decide that it's not worth to continue, and I don't want that to happen. It's up to you guys to keep this series rolling. Now, I know I'm about only one of the... I think there's about a couple of others who do TribalWars tutorials, but I think I'm the main one that's doing it now, because, you know, TribalWars has gone down a bit. No one really likes it. Everyone says it's a bit crap. But, you know, I want to keep it going. Let's keep this series rolling. If I get 100 views on one of these episodes, I will literally, you know, I'll record my face with a mask on and just go, you know, I would scream. I would go running downstairs naked. Depending if there's anyone inside the house. I'll do it if there's no one in. You know, if my mum's downstairs, you know, I don't really want to do it. Hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hopefully you've listened to what advice I've given you. Of course, my mic isn't very good. So if there's parts where it sounds a bit patchy, you know, tell me so that I can, you know, increase my volume of voice or change the tone so that it picks up easier. You know, help me out. Don't be a bastard. Don't just go, oh, I just like that. Don't be like that. You know, leave a like, sub to my channel, and I'll give you a kiss. See you guys. Have fun.